Tal, Freddy and Rhonda all seem a bit uncertain about going to meet the Skeleton Scion, probably all of them remembering the old Skeleton Scion that Neverest had. The inspector stifles a sigh and nods to Yvonne. I take it it's up in the graveyard somewhere then. I'll need to inspect there as well. Freddy nods and speaks up too. I need to look around some too. The church has long wanted to consecrate the cemetery so it can be used for proper burials again. There are catacombs under the church, but they were never intended to house the remains of all of Fordok. Yvonne glances at Timo, and I have him nod at that too. I like the idea of the graveyard being used for proper graves again. It also reminds me of something I noticed about the undead I have, but that can be dealt with later. For now, Yvonne leads them up to the surface, exiting the mausoleum in the east. To the west is the sealed crypt with the undead spawners, and the former home of Neverest Core is to the north. Grim is... She looks around, but can't spot him, so she looks to Timo. He nods towards the west and squeaks. Grim appears to be doing some work beyond the sealed crypt. To the west, then. I'll take a look at the sealed mausoleum before examining the skeletal scion, then the former home of Neverest Core, and that should more or less finish the inspection. I can get a good look around the graveyard while we do that too, says Freddy, already looking around. I can't tell if he's relieved or disappointed at the lack of wandering undead. It's not long before they all stand before the crypt, which I could honestly seal better. I never got the chance to have Tiny actually web the doors closed, but thankfully undead don't seem to know the difference between a door and a wall. I did put a warning on the double doors though. Don't undead open inside? Reads Tal, confused. Freddy and Rhonda look confused as well. That seems fittingly cryptic to put on the crypt, says the orc with a shrug, before the inspector walks towards the doors. He reaches for them when Rhonda gasps. Wait! You read one door, then the other. She points, and Freddy's eyes widen as he sees it, the inspector blocking their view of one of the doors. The inspector takes a step back to reread the warning and nods. Don't open undead inside. Fair enough. I do need to take at least a peek, though. Stay back, kids. They shouldn't notice me this close, but they might notice you. The kids don't look too happy about that, but listen. He goes sneaky mode, and even I have to pay attention to keep track of him now. He cracks open the doors and peers inside, seeing the wall-to-wall zombies and skeletons. He manages to not panic at least, and quietly and quickly closes the doors before sneaking back a bit. Near the kids, he pulls out the rock again. Zombie and skeleton spawners are located in the West Mausoleum, which has a warning on the doors. Don't open, undead inside, and it's not wrong. There's very little room to move in there, and the undead seem to be in torpor with no stimulus available. Highly recommend delvers stay well away. Moving on to the skeleton scion. Grim is actually touching up some of the stonework around the mausoleum. He's hardly a strong magic user, but he has time to spare, and he seems to be earth elemental in his magic, which helps a lot with his duties. Tal and the kids about crap their pants when they walk around the corner and see him, hand against the wall, hood up and scythe in his other hand. I don't think I have a concept of the Grim Reaper here, but he's been an icon back home forever for a reason. Grim just ignores them, as he continues fixing cracks and chips in the masonry. It takes a few seconds before Tal slowly brings out the rock. Encountered skeleton scion. It's a groundskeeper. Currently it is performing maintenance on the West Mausoleum. It's an imposing figure in a black robe and a scythe, but has shown zero interest in me and my guides. Recommend delvers ignore it as it goes about its business. Notes made. All of them quickly move on. Grim watches them go. Yeah, I don't know either. Maybe they're just anxious to be done. The inspection's been going on for a while. They're probably hungry. It doesn't take them long to get to the Northern Mausoleum, and it takes even less time for them to notice the damage from the tripped explosion trap. The inspector looks at the shards of the false core before looking at the former resting place of Neverest True Core. Confirmed Fordok has assumed Neverest. There appears to have been a false core that was made of glass, with the true core hidden in the crypt in the same mausoleum. Fordok appears to have spent much of the mana gained from it on changing the wasps to bees, and plague rats to pack rats, as well as various scions. Guards at the cemetery gate are no longer needed. Manor appears optimized for new delvers. Bramble Labyrinth suitable for all levels. Prior notes and dangers seem to still apply. Tunnels are for low to mid-level delvers. Appears to be mostly strong spiders and various slimes, with occasional bats. Catacombs appear underutilized at this time. Will likely change as delver activity returns. Church of the Crystal Shield appears free to consecrate the graveyard and resume normal operations in that respect. Science should generally be left alone. Most are prioritized towards support and upkeep rather than combat. Those that are combat-focused are more interested in invaders and monstrous delvers from the deeps. Doubtful the Scions would slay groups that attack them, but it seems likely they would be dumped outside of the dungeon, bereft of all their gear. Still no designated voice. Still no indication of location of core, nor of various secret rooms. Interestingly, it has several public rooms that likely have secret compartments. Suggest attempting negotiations with the upcoming Ratkin enclave of dwellers to establish friendly relations. Delvers should stay well away from the enclave for now, until relations are made. He considers for a few more seconds before seeming to be satisfied, and putting the stone away. "Do you really think it'll let the church consecrate the grounds?" asks Freddy, and Tal nods. "I'll be surprised if it doesn't. Dungeons do see benefit to having a proper burial ground in their borders. The Royal Cemetery is actually a dungeon, in fact. Its only known denizens are small fae, as is its sign and voice. It has no known income aside from the prayers and respects offered to those interred there. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Fordok decides to dip his toes in those waters. It seems to have a lot of plans, and it needs mana for them."